want to assure the people of our beautiful country that the team of leaders that you have now are very much concerned about the state of our country, the state of our economy, the level of lawlessness in the country, the unemployment in the country. So we, like-minded leaders, we have decided now to exit from government, basically because we have lost confidence in the leadership of the Honorable James Marape. Everything he's doing in this country, he's creating history. History in the borrowings. History in the level of crime in our country. History in the rise of unemployment in our country. History in inflation, high level of inflation. And he has just created another history to go to Australia and beg for more money. Today marks a very important occasion for one of our vibrant, outstanding governors who has supported the Marape Russell government since Marape became Prime Minister. He has decided that enough is enough. The interest of the people of this country is more important than him. And I want to announce today that our Honorable Governor for ESP has decided that he will now resign from the government, and I will allow him to speak for himself. And we have also a member for Bulolo filling his father's shoes. He has decided he will also exit government. Many people have been posting that Marape is dominated by Pangu. But if you look at it very closely, Pangu only won 4 seats in Marape in the last election. And I believe if my brother Basil was alive today, or during that election, he would have won more seats. ULP would have won more seats than Pangu. And I'm really thankful today to see the level of confidence and maturity in this young leader for Bulolo in Basil Jr. to step up and step forward and say enough is enough. He will also make his own statement. But today marks a very important part in Papua New Guinea's history, where we have one of our very strong advocate for good governance, transparency, and accountability in this country, the Honorable Governor Allan, to make his announcement today. So I will leave the floor to the 2 members. We also have a member for WIWEC who is running late. He will be joining us very shortly, the Honorable Stanley Moons, a newly elected member for WIWEC. So you can see that everybody has been boasting that Momase is with the Pangu government. Well, Momase is not. The leadership of Governor Allan, the leadership of Basil Jr. is demonstrating to the country that we've also had enough. You see the contracts going to one ethnic group. Connect PNG is not meant for Papua New Guinea. Connect PNG is Connect Ella. Connect Southern Islands. How long are we going to allow this thing to go on? We must not give Marape one more day in office. His time is up, and he needs to go. Thank you, and I will allow the governor, I will allow the member for Bulolo, the Honorable Basil Jr. to speak first, and then the governor. And then I will allow the rest to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, I made this some of the points here so that I can remember read everything here properly instead of going through my head. Probably thinking of something else. So, my dear Papua New Guineans, today I make this bold decision on behalf of my strong people of Bulolo, for the reason or in the name of stability. When I talk stability, I am talking about our country, economic growth stability, jobs for our people stability, food and price stability, and healthcare supplies stability. Unfortunately, there is no such stability in today's government. Sadly, in the past 18 months, I have seen our country decline further in all aspects of life under today's government, which is why I have lost confidence in the leadership of the current Prime Minister. Today, it hurts me to see the medicine shortages right across the country. People going hungry on a daily basis as inflation has skyrocketed. Money being expended left, right, center on bogus projects. The devaluation of Kina. SOEs like Air Niugini constantly in the red despite being a monopoly. Fuel shortages, our good public servants and protectors of the law being underpaid. The list is never ending. It's clear our people's interests are not first priority, and hence we will never support such a government. Furthermore, I am disappointed with the government unequal distribution of development right across this beautiful country. It is not fair for certain districts to be given priority while others beg for funds. The money for people make a maskism, private money. A government I am part of cannot run like this. I am also disappointed in the processes and the procedures of how our Prime Minister and the government operates. I have questioned numerous times on the floor why the people and the MPs whom will host the Wafi Golpo mine, such as Bulolo district, who is the current host of Wafi Golpo mine, being continuously omitted from the ongoing negotiations of the project, yet only to receive 0 replies, and only to be ignored for the last 18 months. So, enough is enough. Our people need a Prime Minister who will fight for 100% of the mine, just like how we did for Kelly, which is today operated and owned by Papua New Guineans, delivering record dividends. We are not in the government to be negotiating 52% of a mine we own, like Bogar, while giving up 100% of ownership, operatorship to a foreigner called Barrick. I will not stand for this type of negotiations. My people of Papua New Guinea and my father stood for the rights of our entire labor force and the welfare of their families. I, as his son, stand for the same reasons and more. We need to save Papua New Guinea from the current decline in economic stability. We need economic stability, not convenience stability. Hence, my resignation from the Marper government. Thank you.
I think everybody has seen for the last maybe 18 months how uncomfortable I have been in government. Do you blog that looking finish now? About 5 days ago, I received a text from this young leader. I didn't have his phone number on my phone. He sent me a text and we just looking photo problem, so I responded. And he said to me, he said, Pops, I'm leaving government. I want to talk to you. So we started talking. Now, obviously, in Momase, we've been talking. And their Momase leaders will be tuning in now. Many of them are thinking bluntly. Because passing Blomibla of government, suppose you losing government all by cutting funding. Now, some of you will recall, if you follow the parliament debates, I was always against the cutting of funds for opposition MPs. I experienced it when I was in opposition. When I came to government, And opposition MPs started leaving, and when I asked them, they said, well, all not give me the money, so we have to leave and join government. Now, we are living in the 22nd century now. And Papua New Guinean government cannot act like a tribal fiefdom. I don't like the idea of cutting funds to opposition. I was in opposition and I experienced it. And then I'm ashamed to be a part of a government that's actually doing the same thing again. Me same here. And so when young Basil called me up, I was going to do I didn't want to do a big session like this, but I felt that young leaders like Honorable Basil, Nomane, Agahuno, Iduhu, Miplai Mololbla line, but these press famous, you know. Also give him same no Mipla or MPs stuff long time. Sure. For them to actually be brave enough to step up. They know that their funding will be cut. I went home 2 weeks ago and I spoke to my council presidents. Many of them, they served with Grand Chief Michael Sumari. And they said to me, Governor, suppose Papa staff, Eblusim government long time yet, and one bag was not opposition. I spoke to my administration. My administration actually told me, don't leave the government, all but cutting funding to Libya. Libya Philippines. And then I sat down and thought of something that Ata Somare said to me one time. He said, Governor, time you go to Parliament. Talk sabelo brother blomi James Marape said. You blow hela ega dina lo miplo civic na you no big. You blow claim him this la garden na talk blow ibla. So man make him ya. Papa I go finish. Pigin ni em stop yet na mipla civic mipla kay bunya. And this is a challenge we face. Our constitution guarantees equal distribution of the wealth of this nation to all Papua New Guineans. The current system doesn't do that. The other day I sent a message to all Momase MPs because I felt responsible. See, Papa country and me. And I woke up at 3 in the morning. I was really troubled. I miss Ali message na no God one member of Momase and Becky. Somare was prime minister for 17 years. You know not finding one big business lo ECP, Westip, Medeng or Morobe. He never looked after his own people. No God na no God over there. All Papa Blomibla lo Momase. They stood for this country and for equal benefits for every single Papua New Guinea. Na mi sem government where mi sanap strong lo walking. Lo sanctuary kam gono laguna na gono lolo wataya. Mipla tani beg na. Mipla bagar pim something or Papa Blum mipla sanap. It's a shameful thing. Mipla civic mipla sa operate lo tupla something. Principles na passing lo same. Na mi pilim sem o sem hard no mi lo defending this lagap. It's getting harder every day because you are getting one bad decision after another bad decision. Me said complain inside. Many Papua New Guineans accuse me. Oh, Allan, bet you start where you pass him out. So must give you again and you pass him out. But other members of parliament tell me you have to be a team player. Team player, you pass him out. No, not line ya. You know, I told Kerenga Pua before he left. Me feel say me son of security guard no front no bank no dar la mano no style sa no bank na still na. Allan bet ya security no front staff ya no man still inside. And it's so unfair to all our people. So unfair. Ogra good la todo when all member making finish, or leader only, you know, Honorable Hagahuno and others, young Basil has just stated this case. We need to build a better Papua New Guinea. We need a full hard stop and a reset. I've spoken personally to James Marape, our Prime Minister. Mr. Respect in this government. And you know, I've grown close to him. But me feel the we've gone away from the things that we were fighting for when we first came into government in 2019. All of those ideals are no longer there. And now I see us lurching from one area to another. I've been asking for foreign exchange solutions since I was still in opposition. Bigam no government na meeting o samoge, Mr. No government na bombla fixing. I'm not fix. We have record money at the central bank. You've heard me complain about it, but it's not filtering through to the business community. Recently, you've been looking more heavy come up here. I mean, these things have been building for years. I don't know something assets all come up. Suppose you sleep on not la country or you start lo heaven and by you know look savelo. Heavy blow, people blow. But how people are hating. You know, when I publish positive stories from my province, other Papua New Guineans of Bagam complain to governor, you told the province Pluyuna. So, you know, these things have an impact. You know, you can't just continue to turn a blind eye and pretend that everything is okay. And so, like for me, I said to all these young leaders here, Allan, I'm moving because I feel that I can't change the government from inside. About 6 or 8 months ago, me come no government WhatsApp group me resign. I'm tired. I'm tired of asking you people for the same things. I want to fix the power issue. Bible crossing me to you man come the sole mouse. When I talk about the energy crisis. When I talk about unemployment, no one gives us a valid response. I've asked for a strategy. While I was in opposition, me asking government blow in. Time me come no government, me asking government blow me. Inside no government caucus. Me ask him, go about 3 weeks ago, me stop last. Me tired. I think Papua New Guineans were all tired. Everyone is tired.
Yes.
Time something happened on Black Wednesday, yeah. I went the next day with Governor Paco. We sat with the Prime Minister and I said to him, PM, my humble request, reviewing this budget. Review him now. When the money start here, you just give him step back on this business instead. These businesses serve Papua New Guineans. And government is fully liable. And aswa blomibla na this heavy amount. Suppose over this business is going to court by the holy right now, court by a holy law. So rather than wait, let's review the budget, give it. Second, something with the Prime Minister, March last year. And you know, supporters of the government will say, Allan, but you spent saying, now what have you been doing? People will tell you that the biggest complaint on government WhatsApp for the last 4 years is no one listens. No one cares even to listen. When myself and Governor Papok, we went ahead and held a meeting, people are saying, the governor come, people are boom, on March last year, 28 recommendations we gave to government. Not one single action on any of those recommendations. So what am I supposed to do? You know, Honorable John Rosso, I'm good friend of me, I've known him a long time. When I wanted to leave government, all Salimem na Powes Paco, Locantoto, Guadamilo, stop it. They said, change it from inside. And I stayed for 8 more months trying to change it from inside. You know, it's so frustrating. Me lagi mo sa. Mi plaogra no kan kam na cross fight na bega lo wagan. He got 22 provinces. Bougainville and Kisim Bougainville. Bougainville has a block grant right now, ladies and gentlemen. Me ask him, Ogra Narla province, give block.
Yeah. Yes.
That budget must go to the people. Right now, it is spent by government in Waigani. 24 billion lo this la budget and bol spending lo mostly. Ogra province spends in 3 billion taso. Iplare. Na ibla gen belevi lo mi iblo sabota lo pambu na wanemba. Please. Country am lo mi ogra ya. Ino blo mi one mi bla civic ta solo, ibla hela ta solo, ibla simbu ta solo, ibla morbe ta solo. Am lo mi ogra ya. Road you may be trying to work in 49 years, it has not worked. We have to be honest about that. We need to change it. Change it so that every single Papua New Guinean has an opportunity. Ino blo yupla hela ta sol sat islands over the contract yupla kisip blo yupla yet. Tribal budget blo yupla yet. Ogara money blo police force to blo yupla yet. Ami blo ogara narla also man. Constitution we passing mimi ogada am to clear so mimi ogada maski sim equal na fair share. We are not doing it. So me is talk on behalf of all provinces. I think civic people, all single blooming losing government for more than a year. All people blooming. Now miss our small hamamas. But more than that, you see there are lots of things I could not talk about in government. For example, last 5 years, economic growth has been negative. It's been negative. You just go check the website, the treasury number looking. Even this year, I mean, it was 2.4% GDP growth, 5% inflation. So you put in plus, kissing calculator doing a plus 2.4 now, minus 5, what do you get? That's your growth for this year. It's negative. It was negative last year. It was negative the year before. It's been constantly negative. Plenty man by asking the vote of no confidence, and this kind of sense. I'm not really moving for the vote of no confidence. I'm moving because I'm tired of everything in me. Now, me find out the just like all of you about, you know, all of these contracts. Ayo, skin grass from me sana. Pito kay, you no albi mo na login sa atin. So you, okay, remember you have him the second consensus with me same here. As someone from ECB, I am deeply ashamed, you know. When I saw the issues with revealed by Mr. Yafai the other day, me know that phone number of Yafai, I'm work no ECB provinces now. Masin Blomi, I don't deal with the lower staff, I only deal with the administrator. I had to look for Yafai's phone number to call him up. Me are more say more like kill him no here no street no must be. So me bla dogi me mara you fly go back no Vivek. He's in Vivek now. You know? Time me looking more the revelations na me ask him straight and to people. Kawan amin nagyan you. I'm something I put him straight. Skin grass blue kira. You know now say me no man blow no too. But something I will give me said. So me to you me over public minister. And I hope, you know, Prime Minister and lot of money. Strong plus 7 days. You plus 7 days, you plus passing kaya and over something for 24 hours, you plus working, not to play. So, you know, there should be some conviction there, you know, now, talk out now. So me plus some percent no start not defending. I wasn't talking about stuff. But look, whatever changes that come, they're going to be better. We need solutions. We can't just keep blaming Peter O'Neill. Me first man, Miss Cross, when Peter O'Neill and Mr. West. But me feeling was we don't have to blame him money more because he's already outside. I'm not controlling this last Diablo country. I'm not sensing Diablo country. No, man, no globing stuff. So, you know, my great disappointment is that my government, which I used to be a part of, we did not take responsibility. You may blame him only Tasson. Yes, okay, only them as well. And you may look at this. Move beyond that. Fix the problems. Don't just keep blaming O'Neill. 1 year you may can blame him, but blaming for 5 years and me believe said now. I can't keep justifying myself by blaming other people. It doesn't work. So these are the compelling reasons for me. I mean, like a man thing on some vote of no confidence in Allan bed and power hungry. I'm not passing from him. But when things are going wrong, I mean, Lord, I would love me to pass him out. Only hand not talk no, and then Larry Nalaman. I don't think we can do that. So my appeal is, especially to all the good leaders around the country. I mean, you go out and ask your own community, how is your community living? Or feel him also one. And then you make up your own mind. Search your conscience. You know to man, okay, ask him God Lord. Talk to you where you have to go, left or right. Me and me believe hard me sleep no night. So I want to come out and I want to take on the government and question them on some of these things that they think they are doing. Because I think someone needs to do that, and to do that Kosen pamito kon strong na. Yumi isi na poro brata na wanto hanem na country o global rasta. Yumi to houseman na yumi simili extra kaya na one sandin na. Si mone na yumi to kay yumi strong him na sta. You can strong him na sit down kaya good na country bagra side what's gonna happen? Who's gonna take care of that? So for me, these are the propelling things. In addition to what Narlo member talked in Islam. And I really can't stay silent anymore. Misawe also, my province, could face cuts in its budget. But I think civics are resilient people. I'm no good, Mibla Philippine, long time, Mibla Kage Bun Kamya, so what if we have to chew on bones some more? Especially Mibla line where probably Mibla go past look sim independence now. Strong in country, we have a responsibility. I always tell civic people, we have a responsibility. Why? Because there was a giant from Murik Lakes who decided to put his hand up. And because of that, every single civic has a responsibility. We have a responsibility to the country, not just to ourselves. And it is that compels me to make the announcement that I do this afternoon. I have nothing personal against Prime Minister Marape, or in fact any of his ministers, but I think Papua New Guinea demands higher performance, higher results. We can't say, oh look, we are doing our best. If our best is not good enough, then we're going to do better, because that's what the country needs. It doesn't need us to relax. Now you be relaxed na people blow up na cooking or something na mi hare mo sa plan yang plan meri on raping lo this Wednesday na mi so restricted. I don't want that to happen again, and I want to solve the root causes of that. So I'll post something on Facebook, something that's a little bit more coherent. You all can get it from there, but I think it's time that I'm just tired. And I think a lot of Papua New Guineans are tired too. And that's why I'm really proud of these young leaders. And so time, Honorable Basil and talk. Perhaps me, let me give an announcement now. You come now, sit outside for me. I said to him, I would be very honored to sit next to you as you make your announcement. So let's start with that.
Thank you. I'll the other leaders. Say a few words and the hearing query. I will also finish off because I have to tell the country why I have resigned as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Just to add to what the Honourable Govt for Pacific, Honourable Allan and the Honourable Member for Pololo, Sam Basil Jr. Had said. Basically, the country, everybody knows what challenges you're facing right now and what you're going through. The daily struggle of meeting the cost of living, the pressures of school fee, the pressures for putting food on the table, the pressure for rental, the pressure of fuel, the pressure to run a business. These are real challenging times. And what you have to understand is what happens in Parliament with the 112 MPs currently in Parliament is just simply a microcosm of the effects and the outcomes that we're feeling in society. So simply put, it's like this. If we come to Parliament and members of Parliament who become ministers, who become the Prime Minister, start to put a superficial hierarchy of dominance where they feel that they're better than the rest of the members of Parliament, they're better than governors, and they don't take heed to advice, constructive criticism, debate, they don't consult, and they start to show this arrogance and Mr. Know-it-all attitude, and they look down on other elected members, and they don't start treating them as equals, that's when you're going to have problems in society. Because that attitude and that belief that somehow, somewhere, they're better than the rest of us, will start to creep into budgeting, will start to creep into appointments, key appointments within government, and then we'll start to see nepotism. We'll start to see inequitable distribution of resource. And this is what's happening in the country. And you've seen what's happened. The level of corruption, the contracts in Connect PNG. I mean, my question is, how many symbols got a contract in Connect PNG? How many millionaires were made through this program? You give $3 billion to a certain group or a certain company, and what about the province of 500,000 people? What about the lack of medicines? What about the law and order? What about the crime? What about the agriculture? These are some real issues affecting everyday Papua New Guineans. So when we look at a Prime Minister, we've got to see, has he got the character? Has he got the ability to run a country? And when you look at ability, you've got to look at his selection of cabinet. You've got to get the best people to be ministers in cabinet. People with experience, people with international qualification, people with industry experience, people who know how things work. So when we look at the selection of cabinet, this tells you that there's no ability. The Prime Minister doesn't care about the country. He doesn't care about proper policy implementation. And then we have this problem. And it's been 5 years. It's 5 years too long. So I salute the Governor for ESP, Honorable Allan, for his bold decision this afternoon to come and support the young and vibrant member for Bulolo who's followed in his father's footsteps. And let's not forget what Sam Basil did, the late Deputy Prime Minister. He was the only one to cause a Moravian, a Pangu whitewash in Morobe. It's never been done before. So I'm so proud of his son coming out, beginning to Pavastre, the Soy Molson, and original Kumudrumo. So what I'm Islam, thank you, the time to come to witness him. All big Lausman Tonto, but Big Latokto. There's some real serious issues here. And members of parliament have to go back to their electors and ask them, what's the price of rice? What's the price of tin fish? And then you have to check yourself. Are you in the right place doing the right thing? So thank you for your attendance this afternoon to witness this momentous occasion. Thank you.
Well, thank you, media. I should also jump in at this juncture and congratulate the Honorable Sam Basil Jr. and for Bulolo, the Honorable Allan, the Honorable ESP, for this momentous occasion today to step out and step up. For all the reasons that have been explained this afternoon, and that many commentators have spoken of, true, and true. This country is bleeding to the point of death. Another 6 months of this looting, and we will not have a country. And that is the urgency and the priority that these members of leaders have recognized, and we all recognize, and so have taken this bold step to provide the opposition and the criticism that this country needs in a government. I also join the Governor Bird's comments in saying it's not about a VONC, although it may culminate to that. But it's more about providing the balanced discourse in governance and providing the vibrancy of a democracy that we need in any free developing nation. You see, Papua New Guinea, like I said earlier, came out of a fusion of 1,000 tribes, 1,000 different peoples.
bonded by the glue of the Constitution. Black Wednesday is a symptom of the decay in society that we are experiencing today. The high price of goods and services is only a symptom of things that are truly happening in the leadership that you have elected. Unfortunately, as the adage goes, we deserve the leadership that we elect. I too have seen the analogy in coming to Parliament only to be a security guard, to provide the numbers to a regime that has no respect for her people or their people. Also, enough of this looting. We saw looting on the 10th of January. But in the last few days, we've also seen evidence of even greater looting. On that day, we saw a looting that culminated and is quantified by, at least from the private sector that was engaged, damages to the tune of 1 billion kina at least. We're seeing information and reports that are floating on social media, evidence of looting in the vicinity of close to 5 to 6 billion kina. Not only by people of Gerehu or people of Port Moresby, but one certain special people. Why is it that National Solidarity Principle number 4 of our Constitution has been ignored? Why is the wealth of this nation not equitably and fairly distributed? Why do we support a government that is continuing this looting? And so this has to come to a stop. I am appealing this afternoon to all fellow MPs. I appeal on behalf of the 10 million people of Papua New Guinea who are crying out there for better services, better standards of governance, and better and fair distribution of our resources. The 10 million people of this nation want a change in government, and we are asking and we are appealing to your good conscience to make that decision that is needed to be made, and step up, step out, and step up. People really not signing will They sent you here to cause the change that we need. We want positive change, positive influence. How many Guinea need to send this? I'll stop at this point. We have the member of Uruguay. Honorable standing, someone arriving. At this time, I think I will pause for my commentary and take leave to hand over the proceedings to the Master of Ceremony to make a few comments, and we will proceed. Okay, thank you. There is good consensus in this room. Fairness. Papua New Guinea that belongs to Papua, that belongs to Momase, belongs to New Guinea Islands, and belongs to the Highlands. This Papua New Guinea is was built on agriculture. And it will survive of agriculture, as my good member for Ijimitari said. And we survive of coffee here. And we survive of fish. So everybody should come along and tell us that gold will be black, copper will be black, oil will be black, gas will be black, that's all the budget will be finance. Because budget will finance and people provide good in people now can. The now levels are just exorbitantly overflowing, tipping over the shaken and just overflowing. We need to stop this trend. Like I said, another 6 months and we will not have a country. We will not have a country. Because not only are we just looting like there is no tomorrow, we're also We've disrespected the rule of law and forgotten the constitution that holds this country together. So like I said, I'm going to appeal to my colleague MPs. I appeal to the 12 Papuan MPs in Pangu. You know who you are. Think good and make a decision, because the people of Papua did not send you to come and contribute to Papua New Guinea and steal from it. They sent us with a fiduciary obligation to raise it from the abyss and give it hope. Resuscitate it and give her hope. Not got tomorrow lo house, not tomorrow lo school, and not tomorrow lo is not project not to connect PNG. Connect him lo one. Is him heavy come down on Mosby? Is him heavy come down on people who live longer than that? Why is Connect PNG not connecting the seas? Connect PNG and PNG start on ground that's all. I'm going to appeal again. Enough is enough. The change must occur. Thank you.
Thank you. Like welcoming my honorable member of WIWEC, the newly elected member of the WIWEC, Honorable Stanley Mucha Samban, come joining me on the Governor of Lumibla of the ESP, one the member of the Bulolo, member of the Chuave, member of the Iriquari, member of the Kainantu, member of the Ambuti Drakikiana, member of the Ijibitari. Maybe I give them the time by talk and member of the Social Democratic Party. But me amama so se mem kam na sana staff namen no mi want them governor of Lumibla no ESP. Me I call him governor of Greater City. So suppose you look him, Mibla East na West City and Mibla got 12 land. They got 2 seats vacant. I think Lumibla by going to buy election. Mabrik by going to buy election. So Mibla 10 flights now. Out of 10, Mibla 6 now Mibla stopped. Mibla stop now long. Opposition side. So majority of Mibla CP, the Mibla move. So maybe allowing honorable member of the WIWEC to talk land because maybe I continue the speech move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Lama. Thank you, members. Big Club Lumi Governor. We know what planning for program and we come seram solo with this in to the Big Club Lumi or something. Thank you. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
Thank you, obedient team here and Papua New Guinea. I fully concur and endorse everything that has been said by the leaders and what our young leader in the symposium stated, and senior governor, Allan said. Just a bit to add to the reason why we all moved. I am a first-time member of parliament, so as many of us here. And it is something new for the country. First-time members of parliament always follow the party leaders and previously, and follow where the party leads them. We have decided to come out of our parties to take this bold stand because we are a different crop of leaders. We are a new crop of leaders with new vision, new dreams. We are not here for the money, for fame, for positions or ministries. we moved out from the government because we are not happy. We are disappointed that the government continues to run this nation. Focus and attention is in one corner of this nation only. All the resources, appointments, everything is going one way, while the rest of the nation sits around watching. This nation comprises of almost 800 or 1,000 tribes who don't think alike, different ways of thinking and doing things. We are united by one constitution based on the principle of equality participation. But if that is not going to be the principle upon which the government continues to operate, if the norm is favoritism, cronyism, nepotism, and plundering, raiding of the wealth of this nation, we as responsible leaders, we have just stepped into this arena of politics, cannot sit around and wait and watch. We have promised our people that we will bring changes to this nation. And we are here to see those changes. Okay. And it starts with us. Since I last announced my resignation from the government, I was flanked by senior leaders, Peter O'Neill, Honorable Kua, and Govt. And the social media people going around saying, oh, he was offered $1 million, maybe ministry, this and that. I've never spoken to anyone before I made up my mind to leave the government. I have made it very clear, and I believe all of this, including the first of our first-time MPs, Honorable Govt. I believe he left so as Honorable Iduhu and Honorable Ewawi, and then myself, he left based on principle and conscience. And for me personally, I have made it very, very clear. If, say, Peter O'Neill offers me $1 million, 10 million, 100 million to join the government, leave the government, effect, join the opposition, I will not accept. So as the Honorable James Marabe, if he offers me 10 million now, or tomorrow 100 million, or never, I've made a decision. The destiny of our nation and the future of our children lies in our hands. This group of leaders, we have to provide a new form of government, a new way of thinking. And what we do now will definitely change the landscape of politics in this nation. Thank you.
Thank you, all good people from Papua New Guinea. We like taking this time, firstly, for congratulating member of Chuabe, member of Iri bold and brave stand that they took on the aftermath of the 10th of January, the Black Wednesday. I've never seen newly elected young members of parliament resign like this. This is real bold leadership. And leadership through the country. And I want to also congratulate the member for Kainan, the Honorable Agawun, taking that stand for the love of his country. I want to congratulate member for Ijibitari, taking that stand. And today I congratulate Mike Abla for his big East and West Bay. One time, beginning the month with Sam Basil, the Honorable Sam Basil Jr., taking that bold stand. This is real leadership. When we see that the country is not heading in the right direction, we must make the decision to make a break and change the government. I've been the leader of the opposition, and I've been in the opposition for 12 years. Longer than any other member of parliament has ever served in the opposition. Basically because I didn't want to join governments that did not have the interests of the people of this country at heart. I couldn't find one. So I decided to stay in the opposition and fight the governments of the day. before going into the election, I made declaration that I will join government after the 2023 election. Basically because I thought that maybe I should go into the government and make a difference, contribute meaningfully, instead of fighting from the opposition. When I joined government, Marape wanted to have dinner with me. And I thought he was going to host me in his house or in Mirigiri. He opted to come and tell me that he was going to have dinner with me at my house. I put a red carpet for him. I said, you don't need to give me a ministry. All I need from you is listen to what some of the advices I'm going to give. You know, executive government appointed me as the chairman of Foreign Affairs, Immigration, International Trade and Defense, which is not supposed to be the responsibility of the executive government. Executive government has encroached into the duties and responsibilities of the legislature. The appointment of the permanent parliamentary committees is for the speaker, the parliament. So parliament doesn't have the oversight. Executive controls the chairmanships of parliament. The role of the executive government is to appoint ministers. The role of the legislator is to appoint permanent parliamentary committees. Anyway, they appointed me that the permanent parliamentary committee chairman for foreign affairs, defense, and immigration. And I thought that the government was going to consult me on the issues of security, foreign affairs, international trade, and immigration. You know, my fellow Papua New Guineans, I become a chairman for this committee. No one single toya, they have funded that committee. Instead, they fund other permanent parliamentary committees where they have control over. When the country was drafting the defense agreement with US, my committee was never consulted. Parliament must have the oversight. It was never properly debated on the floor of Parliament. And who better to contribute meaningfully to the security of this country in framing the defense agreements, the security treaties. I have the experience in that field. But Prime Minister never consulted my committee. And you know what? When the defense agreement was drafted and it was approved and signed by the defense minister, whether they read it or not, or he read it or not, or the Prime Minister read it or not, in that agreement it said that we concede our constitution or our jurisdiction. How can you concede your jurisdiction? That means, you know, whoever comes in will do anything he wants. He's above the law. Our constitution means nothing. Same with the security treaty with Australia that was signed recently. It has never been debated on the floor of Parliament. Same with the creation of additional ministries. There is no proper policy. When you create a ministry, you are literally creating the department as well. Coffee doesn't have a department. Livestock doesn't have a department. And then now we create another ministry, another 5 ministries that's added on, with no departments. We are not running a country. It's like we are running a taka shop at Erima. We are not running a country. Country is supposed to be run by legislation and policy. And I said, enough. I cannot work with this government. And you would see my governor for ESP and I stand up on the floor of Parliament. Member for Chuabe, member for Iriquoiari, we would stand up on the floor of Parliament and we would debate like we are in the opposition. But nobody listens. We have a Prime Minister who doesn't listen, unfortunately. And then now I refer back to why he's not listening. because he made a declaration on the first day of his election into office that he will run this country on his DNA. On his own mantra, on his own manifesto. He has no regard for the systems and processes that you need to follow. That's the Prime Minister. He has no regard for fair and equal distribution of our nation's wealth, which our forefathers have lived by. And then they come out there like comparing me with one of the former Prime Minister. It's an insult to the intelligence of the Papua New Guineans. It's an insult to our founding fathers. He's boasting about 200 billion kina growth. If you look at it very carefully, there has not been any internal revenue in this country except the borrowings. So the 200 billion or 100 billion economy is boasting about is the dinner that he has brought into the system, into a budgetary process. There is no growth in our country, as my governor has rightfully said. So where are we heading? We are skydiving downwards. You cannot compare yourself with late Sir Bekare Morata. He's the father of reform. He's the reformist in this country. He's a game changer. He's the fixer. You cannot talk about Somare in this country. Somare grew the economy. He managed the debt level in this country. He had a debt management strategy in place. And then he wanted to grow the agricultural sector, at the same time looking after health and education. And all the enabling infrastructures that will enable the development of our country. None of this. This guy has come up with a very good scam policy of Connect PNG. You know, this year's budget, he forget about the vaccines. He cut the vaccine budget by 25 million and lumped all the money into Connect PNG and created a discretionary vote of 2.9 billion. And who does he pay first? And I make no secrets. He pays Ipuans first, 700 million. It's no secret. Who is Ipuans? Everybody is saying Moses Palipe. I say Moses Palipe is just a proxy of James Marape. And I make no secret. No, Brother Nama doesn't make any secret. I fear nobody. I only fear my living room. Members of Parliament, wake up and see what's happening. Which Prime Minister, which President of the world, which world leader leaves this country and travels all the time, globe-trotting and domestic trotting? He doesn't sit in his office as Mano Subayao. He is traveling all the districts, launching all the 5-year development plan. For goodness sake, we have a country to run. Sit down and manage the country. He doesn't care about the tribal warfare that's going on in Kari, in Enga province, the lawlessness in Port Moresby, in Ley, in peaceful Kokopo, in West New Britain. He cares less. And in a civilized democracy, we are civilized. We are a civilized country. We cannot say we are uncivilized. We are civilized. Every villager understands English. The Black Wednesday should have been the day in any right frame-minded Prime Minister he would have resigned. Especially when the security forces of this country, the last line of defense, they question your leadership, your administration, the defense, police, and the CIS. I've debated many times on the floor of Parliament. You don't feed them well, you don't clothe them well, and you don't house them well, and you ask them to jump, you never respond. But instead they will come at you like a raging bull. That was what happened on the 10th of January, the Black Wednesday. In any right frame-minded Prime Minister, he would have resigned. They went to the Prime Minister's office And if the gate was broken open, they would have raided that office. Why? You can't blame them. You blame your leadership. Everything boils down to leadership. Boils down to leadership. And now, we forget about what's happening in this country. He's flying down to Australia to address the Australian Parliament. He's creating history everywhere. Like I said in my opening statement, unprecedented rate of unemployment in the country, unprecedented inflation, unprecedented debt, everything unprecedented in Marape leadership. So I resigned because my committee, who was supposed to be consulted, was not consulted. I resigned because we creating jobs for ourselves in creating additional ministries. And we're not worried about the jobs to the rural people. I was sitting down with Seipetas only a few days ago. And he was telling me, the guy is boasting about growing the economy to 200 billion, and now about the little people, they're not feeling the pinch of the economy is boasting about. And I've always said, through this unprecedented level of dinner in our country, Marape has put Papua New Guinea into ICU. We are on life support. Thank you, Governor, for the decision you made today. You know, I always say, Governor fills a very important shoe, and the shoe of the founding father of our country. His announcement today is like 10 members of parliament already walking out. And I salute my governor. I salute my son and member for Bulolo, Basil Jr., for the stance you have taken. I see the spirit of Basil alive in you. And I want to thank you. And I hope and pray that the rest of the members of ULP can see this. The rest of the Morobe can see this. We talk about Morobe, Wafi Golpu being low-hanging fruit. When are we going to harvest it? Under Marape leadership, he has traveled to more countries than any other prime minister. He is a traveling prime minister. But the thing is, for so many travels that he has made, there is not one single foreign direct investment that he has brought into the country. Nothing. No one single foreign direct investment. And he doesn't understand. When you go to foreign countries, they will give you a red card, but that's normal. But that doesn't mean that they trust your leadership. As a fact, when they don't bring their investment into the country, they don't trust your leadership. Barrack will say, yes, we'll open tomorrow, but they will never start because they don't like the way you have tried to cut the fee. You have destroyed an operating gold mine when the gold price was at $2,000 US per ounce and cut out 3,600 jobs. Papua LNG, when it was supposed to come into feed phase, you were in a government that signed the agreement, honor the agreement. You were the finance minister. If you had any dispute, why didn't you talk to the prime minister as a chief finance advisor? You cannot come out and blame Peter O'Neill. Peter O'Neill was not the finance minister for 8 years. Who was the longest finance minister in this country? James Farag. You cannot now come and say, oh, I blame Peter O'Neill. Who signed the UBS loan so that it can be drawn down? Marape signed the UBS loan. Who authorized the payment to Paul Parga Wells? And I want to announce and assure the people of Papua New Guinea today, I am the principal complainant of the Parga case. I make no secrets about it. I compile all the evidence and they will not escape. How can you be a state witness when you are a participant in a crime? You are the accomplice in a crime. Marape cannot be a state witness. He should be prosecuted. Don Polia cannot be a state witness. He should be prosecuted. I compiled that entire investigation. I am the principal complainant. I want to tell the public. So they will not hide. Marape has been recommended by the Ombudsman Commission in the investigation to the UBS law. And he signed, not Peter O'Neill. Peter O'Neill didn't sign that agreement. He was the Section 36 officer who penned up for UBS. Look at the Ombudsman Commission report. I cried foul when I was the leader of opposition when they allocated 28 million for the Commission of Inquiry. The Commission of Inquiry was a waste of time. Ombudsman Commission had already made recommendations on who to prosecute, and Prime Minister Marape is one of them. I make no secrets about it. So let's get all this clear. Marape is the owner of EPWES. Moses Marape is a partner. I make no secrets. Governor Basil was referring to the SDS. Well, I want to defend Seventh Adventist Church. It's not SDS. It's James Marape. It's not SDS. It's James Marape. I want to make that very clear. So what I'm trying to say is that this guy is operating on a knee-jerk reaction. He will drive on the road and see a pothole and call Solan Mirisin. Or there's a pothole along the road in Kairukuiri. Find 20 million and go and fix it. Hello, this is not your Takaso. This is Papua New Guinea. Funds have to be properly appropriated. In 2023, we passed a budget. Rainbow Paita was dressed in mixed Chiwaka and Simple regalia, and I criticized him. Because he was dressed like that because he had the 2 billion in miscellaneous parked under his control. They used that money in the election. They drew down 1.1 million. Immediately after election, just before the books closed in 2023, they drew down the balance of 900 million. And only not Tintilo country, only some private bank account loan. The way they are eating into the budget system. That's why I have declared that Connect PNG is the biggest procurement scam in our country. Biggest procurement scam. Connect PNG, you are going and building new roads, and how about the existing roads? When our forefathers first designed the country, they built those existing roads to link to those places. You would have been building the road from Leh all the way to Utu, connecting the three Mumasik provinces. You should have been building the road from Leh to Garena, coming down to Popendata and coming to Port Moresby. We should be building the road from Karama all the way connecting Alata. That's Connect PNG. And you putting on areas where you just use it to pay your own boys. Now you see certain young groups from a selected ethnic group running around with suits, R.N. Williams, and PXs.
We've seen this.
This is reality. This is the Prime Minister we have. He's not here for the country. That's why I want to end it by this. He borrowed the slogan from Gary Jufa, the governor of Oro, to say that take back PNG. Now I'm saying that it is time to take back PNG from Marape. Thank you and God bless my